When dealing with factorization, you'll sometimes come to an algebraic expression like this one that you will need to factorize. Now, to maybe first see how to factorize this algebraic equation, or trinomial as they call it, because there are three terms, and the first term you'll see as a square. Okay, you see the square there. Then the next term is just the x, just a variable, and there's no variable in the third term. Now when you need to factorize this, it's maybe good to just see where this came from. Well, if you have x in the one bracket and in the other bracket, and you have plus 3 and plus 2, and you multiply this out, you must remember FOIL. FOIL is first, you multiply the first ones. X times x is x squared, you times the outer ones, that's 2x, and then you times the inners, and that's the plus 3x, and then you times the last ones, and it's 3 times 2 is plus 6. Now if you add the middle terms, these are the middle terms, and if you add them, because you can add them together because they have the same variable and they are liked terms, this is then 5x plus 6. And now you can see where the plus 5x came from, and the plus 6, and so on. But obviously we don't know where it came from in the question, so we must actually give the answer to show actually from where it did come from. Okay, now first of all, the first step is to ask how do you get to x squared. Okay, so then you put it here. So you put you ask yourself what times what is x squared, and it's x times x. So that's easy enough, and that's that first, the FOIL. Okay, then you will actually like to start with the last terms. You ask yourself what times what is 6. What times what is 6? But if you, in this situation, you'll see later on more clearly, but if you ask yourself what times what is 6, if you those two numbers you say must add up to plus 5x. In this case, it must be plus 3 times plus 2, and if you add it up together, it must give you 5. So what you'll do is you'll write a 3 there and a 2 there, or a 2 and a 3, doesn't matter. But then you say plus 3 and plus 2, and there you have factorized the sum. And now for a general rule when dealing with trinomials and to factorize them, if you see a number, a sign here, and the sign is plus, the signs will be the same. It means that in the bracket here, in the brackets, it will be minus times a minus, or a minus and a minus, or a plus and a plus. This plus here indicates that the largest middle term will get this RM will get this sign, and you'll see there the largest middle term will get this sign. Now you know if both must be, if this is a plus and it must be a minus and a minus, or a plus and a plus, and you know the middle term must be the largest middle term must have a positive sign, then you know it will be a plus and a plus in your brackets. But just keep on going and you'll see how it works out. Okay, let's look at this next example. Here you'll see that the sign is a negative. Okay, here in the previous one we had a positive sign for the third term, and if you have a negative, the signs will differ. So it will be a negative positive or a positive negative, doesn't matter. Now here, what will happen here is that first of all, again, you'll put the brackets, and you'll ask yourself what times what is x squared, so it's x times the x. And then you'll ask yourself what times what is minus 6, but if you add it together, you must get to plus 5x. Now in this case, you can choose 2 times 3, but the problem is the signs must differ, so it must be plus, minus, or minus, plus, and you'll see each time you'll get to minus 1, or the other one will give you plus 1. So the thing is, this must add up to the middle term. and this is a plus 5. So you will choose 6 plus 6 times minus 1. And if you add this together, it's plus 5, and this is equal to the middle term. Okay. And so what we'll use is then minus 1 plus 6. So let's look at the next example. X squared minus 5x plus 6. Again, remember your equal sign, because it's this algebraic equation that's equal to what I'm doing here. So let's say we factorize, and again, factorization, if you need to factorize something, you need to get brackets. Remember that always. What times what is x squared? So it's x times x. What times what is 6? Okay. But if you add those numbers together, you must end up with minus 5. And again, this is a plus, so the signs must be the same. It's minus, minus, or plus, plus in the brackets. So in this case, what times what is plus 6? Well, it will be minus 2 times minus 3. And if you add them together, you'll get minus 5. And this is equal to the middle term. So you'll have minus 2, minus 6 in here. Let's go to the next question. Now you have x squared minus 5x minus, and minus again here means that the signs in the brackets will be different. So it will be plus, minus, or minus, plus, doesn't matter. Then start again here and just ask what times what is x squared is x times x. Now let's come back to this minus 6. What times what will give you minus 6? But if you add it together, you'll get minus 5. Now I would think it would be minus 6 times plus 1, because minus 6 times plus 1 will give you the minus 6, but minus 6 plus 1 will give you, then if you add it together, it will be minus 5, and this is equal to this middle term here. And yeah, so your terms in the rest of the brackets will be minus 6 and plus 1. And for this last question, you will get this type of questions as well. Yeah, and they will try to catch you out on these type of sums. But what you first need to do is you need to factorize a 2 from each term, and you'll be left with n squared minus 2n minus 8. And now you'll need to factorize these or this three term. This trinomial, and again we see this is a minus, so minus means the signs will differ. So what times what will give you minus 8, but if you add it together it will be minus 2, so it will be minus 4 plus 2. If you times those two with each other, you get minus 8, but if you add it together you get minus 2, and that's equal to this middle term. And so what do we sit with? Well, what times what gives you n squared is n times n. What times what gives you minus 8, but it must add up to minus 2, and that will be minus 4, or and a plus 2 here. You could have written it like this as well, it doesn't matter, we'll get to the same answer. Okay, and that's to factorize trinomials.